Okay, so today we'll be starting with test plan creation. What is a test plan? Test plan is a document that describes the strategies, goals, timetable, estimation, deliverables, and resources needed to carry out the test according to what we have here. A test plan aids in estimating the amount of work required to verify the application's quality. So basically, test plan is a document that is written to kind of oversee the general time or whatever it is that will be done if QA wants to test a particular product or a particular application. Now, test plan is important because it is like a roadmap. You need to know what needs to be done, what needs to be worked with. So if it is something that they do not have currently, then they can make resources for it. And every other person knows their roles, they know what to do, what they are not to do, the time they are supposed to do it, who is their go-to person for when they need something else. So context of a test plan, we have objective, project overview, assumptions, test planning, test design, test execution, defect management, test reporting, automation approach, risk management, and tools. So basically, the objective defines what the test plan or the document is all about, just like a short briefing. Then we also have the overview of the project, what the project is, how what it means to whatever company it is that is using it, the assumptions while testing, test planning. Basically, the test plan kind of explained on its own to the company or whoever it is that is reading the team members in the company or the associates in the company of what would be done. So how to create and write a test plan? All the things that I mentioned here, all this above are basically what consists of a test plan before. So having good understanding of the importance of a test plan while testing in the software development life cycle. Without the test plan, we just keep working anyhow. Like there's no roadmap, there's no organization. Like not everyone is organized, not everyone knows what they need to do. Not everyone knows what has been done, what has not been covered, because basically test plan would have like a timetable of what has done, what has passed, what needs to be done, or what would not be needed for the test. So you need to analyze your products, design the test strategy, define test objectives, define test criteria, resource planning, test plan environment, schedule, and estimation. So basically, test plan would, like I've said, it help you understand the application. So I'm going to show us an example of a test plan for us to go through, and just give me a moment. Okay, this is a test plan. We have the test plan name. We have whoever it is that prepared the test plan. You have it here. Then revision and sign-off sheets, that is the author or whoever it is that is going to sign off on the test plan. Now here, the test plan consists of introduction, the purpose, the test strategy, the execution strategy. So the purpose here describes the type of testing approach that will be carried out during the period of testing. Now, test overview is just a basic explanation of what will be done, the technology, what the software is all about. Then we have the quality of the objective, roles and responsibilities. Hold on, I'm going to share this with us so that you guys can also read through it together. So you can click on the chart, you see the link to the test plan, and you should be able to access it. So next we have roles and responsibilities, what each members are doing. Now, the test plan is also a tool that will be written by, it could be the team lead or the project managers, but they would also share it with everyone in the team, which are the stakeholders, the head of, maybe the head of the organization. It is a way of carrying everyone along, everyone on the team. So they know what QA is doing, they know what they are doing for that particular time and how long it's going to take for them to do it. Next, we have project overview. We have quality objective. We have roles and responsibilities, like I mentioned before. So the roles and responsibilities of a test manager is to manage the whole project, define the project directions, acquire resources if needed or when needed. Next, testing would identify appropriate tests or tools that will be needed to carry out the test successfully. Next, we have developer in test, which implements whatever it is that we need, test administrator, SQL manager. Then next is the test strategy and methodology, which is the objective to verify what will be done according to business specification, the final product, and all the things that need, or the steps that we need to do to make sure that the specification meets what is required. Then test principles, test levels, which are different types or different test approaches that will be taken during the period of the testing. Now, okay, next we have, test deliverables before the testing phase, during the testing phase, and after the testing phase. Now, before testing starts, the first thing they need to do, or QA needs to do, is to create a test plan document, which is what we are going through right now. Next is test case documents that matches the requirement of the application that would be tested. After test case documents, we have test design specifications. Then next we have during the test, which are the test tools that would use to test the application. There are different test tools that we have. Like we said, we have even for manual testing, apart from test cases, which is also the Trello that I told you guys to sign into. It is also a test tool that we'll be using to report issues or defects or bugs that we face while we are testing. Test data, test traceability matrix. Next, we have after testing cycle, which are the test reports that you write, the defect reports, depends on what tools that you are using, the installation and release notes. Then these are also the resources and environment that will be needed while testing. You can always go through it and read more on it if you have any questions. Next, we have execution strategy. Execution strategy basically serves as the activities that will be performed by every QA team during the process of testing, which are requirement, test plan, test cases, test case review, test data availability. So basically, when all these are done while testing, then QA or whoever it is that is working on it can decide to add the status of the application, the team lead in charge of the test plan. Now, if we are done with requirements and finalizing, you can just change the status as passed or done. It depends on whatever it is that they are using. So once all the status are completed, we know that, okay, then we are ready to move on to the next stage of testing. So this has to do with exit and entry criteria of like test case or whatever document that we are using. If you've written your test case or your test script here, you can tell if everything has been 100% tested successfully, 95% rate, any criteria that is opened, any defects, any errors, any bugs that was found while testing, everything will be documented here. What was fixed, what was pushed over to maybe like the next sprint or another time, you have everything here. Then next we have, test closures and the rest, test management process, which are the tools that will be used while testing the particular application. Now from, let's say, manual testing, now you write your test case, maybe with Excel sheets or Google Sheets or whatever tools that you're using for test case, actually, it depends on the organization. You write it here. So if while during the process of testing the application, performance tests will be done, the tools that will be used are already mentioned here, which is JMeter and Locus. For automation, we have Cypress and Selenium. There are other automation tools too, but this is maybe what the organization will be using. Next, we had API, which is Postman and Newman. Security test, whatever tools that is used will be added here. Test case, whatever tools. Bug tracking tools. It could be Excel, it could be Trello, it could be Jira and the rest. Communication tools could be WhatsApp, could be Slack. For some organizations, they use Teams. Yeah, it just depends on the organization that you are with. Then test risk and mitigation factor. Basically, if there's any test during the period of testing, here defines what the priority of the test is and the meaning of what was written there. So when they read this and they see, okay, this particular test or risk is high or medium, they know how to fix it or what to do about it, which are the defects and the scopes and every other thing that we have. So basically, these are all the things that consist of a test plan document. Any question? Does anyone have?
Yes, you mentioned about QA. May I know what that means? Is it the quality assurance?
Yes, quality assurance. So basically, quality assurance and also software tester, we kind of use those two names. Although quality assurance, I would say, is the process, what we are delivering. We are delivering you a quality assured product, right? So you will see maybe in some cases when you decide to start searching for jobs, you see QA tester, you see software tester, they basically kind of mean the same thing. So QA for quality assurance. That answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I want to know the link you shared on Zoom. Can I still go through it after the training?
What link?
There is one link I click on now that is showing me, it's giving me one second, please. Yeah, this one you sent me. There's one link you share on the Zoom chat.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the test plan document and this is the link to the Trello board. You need both. If you want to go through the test plan templates, you can go with this. I would also share it on the channel if you need it. If you have any question, you can also ask it on the channel, no problem.
Okay.
When you've gone through it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now,
yes, for now, yeah. Yes.
okay. So next we are moving to user story. It is one of the reasons why I told you guys to create your account in Trello. So now user story is a term in agile methodology used to capture a description of an application feature from the user's perspective. Now, every application that you see out there, every document that needs to be worked with, it has a user story. It started with a user story. It started with the point of writing a user story. Now, when you're writing a user story, you are thinking of it from the user's perspective. What if I am the person that wants to use this application? What are the things that I need to work with this application? So these are the things that you think about. The purpose of the user story is to write down how the project will deliver value back to the end users when they are trying to work with a user story. Now, how to create a user story? In order to write a great user story, it's important to know the steps to follow, which are listed above. You outline the acceptance criteria, you decide on the user's persona, creating a task, map stories, and take feedbacks. So basically, if there's one thing that you need to think of when you're writing a user story, the word user story basically explains. Apologies, guys, just give me a. So basically, when you're thinking about a user story, you're outlining the acceptance criteria, which is the definition of what is done, completed, or should be identified during the process. When you're deciding on the user's persona, you're identifying the user's persona beforehand. This basically is kind of self-explanatory if you want to read through it more. Now, characteristics of a user story. A user story often follows the following formats, which is the who, the what, and the why. When you're thinking of a user story, just think it in your head, www, who, the what, and the why. The who is the job role, whoever it is that you are writing about or that you are in place of. The who can mean different people. The who can mean a user if you're talking about a general application or just one application. But in a scenario whereby you're talking about a product that has different points of entry, let's say Amazon, for example, now we have those that sell products by using Amazon, like they use Amazon to sell their products indirectly. So they are the sellers. We also have those that buy from Amazon. So who can mean two different people in Amazon's perspective. A who can mean a buyer, or it can also mean a seller. You just need to understand who you're talking about. A what is the goal you are trying to achieve for that application? If I want to do this so thing, why do I want to do it? And what do I want to do it for? What am I going to achieve? What am I going to get when using this product? Then the why is the reason why you are doing it. Now, basically, the end result is when you are writing the application, you are thinking of it in a user's perspective. For let me use a medical application, for example. Now, I can say, if I want to think about it from a patient angle, I'm a patient, I want to go to the hospital, but I don't want to have to, I don't know about other countries, but maybe here in Nigeria, whereby you need to go early, do some things before people start coming in. That is if it's a non-emergency reason you are going to the hospital. I can say, for example, if I want to write my user story on a medical application, I can say, as a user, I want to be able to book a doctor-patient time so that I can meet my doctor on this particular day. I will not have to stay a very long time on queues or waste the whole day without even having to make the complaints I want to make. Or another example is, I can say something like, as a user, I want to be able to buy this so product online and pay monthly. Now, let's say, for example, we have these applications or these websites online that they do per payments. Like let's say, for example, you buy a refrigerator of say maybe 200K, but you don't have 200 to 500K on the spot. We have some websites or some applications that they let you pay per month or per week. It depends on your source of income. So I can say, for example, now as a user, I want to be able to buy a product and pay instrumentally. And as a user, that is the person that wants to use the refrigerator or the freezer, anyone. I want to be able to buy it and pay instrumentally. So at the end of the day, it is my personal item. It is mine at the end of every payment or the last payment that I made. Do you guys understand what I've said so far?
Yes.
Okay. So here we
Yes,
have
thank you.
examples of user story description. Here we have As a user, I want to upload photos so I can share photos with others. As an administrator, I want to improve photos before they are posted so I can make sure they are appropriate. As a social media manager, I want to be able to tag the photos under specific categories so that I can filter and search for photos for future use. So basically, these are the things that needs to be done or that you are talking about when writing a user story. Okay. So we are going to pick an example here and try to write a user story with it. So there are different tools for writing user stories. There are different ways for writing user stories. Some companies they can decide to use just maybe like a Microsoft Word document or a Google Doc and just outline whatever it is that they need. While other tools, I don't know if you guys were all on the call during the time we're talking for the webinars that we're talking about project management tools, which are the tools that would help you understand how to work with an application. So now, basically, this Trello is part of project management tools, right? It will help you manage the product or manage the team also. That way, the teams can also work together using these project management tools. Now, we are going to be using Trello because basically Trello is free at a point, maybe at the beginners aspect, except if you want to use maybe like an advanced or work organization. But other tools such as Jira, Asana, they are kind of paid. So we'll be using this. So I want to create a user story. First and foremost, what do I need to do? I need to write my title. Now, your title has to be descriptive enough without them even maybe looking at it or picking it up. Although it does not need to be long or a lot of words. You just need to pick a particular thing. So let me hold on. Let me see if I can get. Okay, so I'm picking, I'm just using a random website now. This is Konga. I want to write a user story from a buyer's perspective. Here they are selling different tools, but let's now say, for example, Konga does not have maybe like a delivery or like a dispatch rider attached to whatever it is product that they are selling. Now I want to write a user story just picking one particular feature. So first I will pick let's see. Okay, just pick anything. So I want to write a user story about let me just log in. Let me do login implementation. Now, when we are talking about login, basically it has to do with you being able to access the application at first. You should be able to do all what you need to do on the application. But if you're unable to log in on an application, then you can't use it. You can't do anything tangible going forward. So now I can say, okay, no, let me not use login. Let me use profile picture. Now, for those of us that use social media, I'm very sure most of us here use social medias. But I don't know about you, but personally for me, if I'm checking your profile online, and let me use LinkedIn, for example, and your profile is scanty, or Facebook, if your profile is very, very scanty, maybe a word or two, and there's no profile picture, there's not anything to actually give me an hint of whoever it is that I'm accepting on my social media handle. I don't do that because you can't actually trust everybody. You don't know who is who, so you need to be sure. So now, in a way, profile picture kind of gives whoever it is that is viewing users' pictures or a user's profile what they need or what is being needed on that particular person, just to give you an idea of who you are talking about. So if I'm talking about profile picture implementation, now I can say I want to write a user story about profile picture. I would say, as a user, I want to be able to upload my profile picture so that my friends can connect with me easily. That is one. This is about profile. Next, I can say, as a user, I want to be able to like my friend's picture so that they can be notified of I want to be able to like, okay, my friend's picture so that of my favorites. Next, I can say, I'm writing another user story. I can say, as a user, I want to be able to view friend request informations so that I can choose who to accept. So basically, it can be anything, but from these three different user stories that I have written, do you understand or do you have an idea of what the user story is all about?
So basically, you're putting a description of what you're requesting for or what you want to do.
Yes, why it is more like a benefit of why you are putting those features, why you want those features to be added, the reasons why you are doing it.
More like a report.
But report comes maybe after you've worked on an application or something, but this is before. So these are the kind of things that needs to be implemented, but the reasons why they need to be implemented. I don't know if you understand. So the next thing after writing this is acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria is the things acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria are the features that need to come into place for all these user stories to be successful. Now, the first one that I picked, I said, as a user, I want to be able to upload my profile picture so that my friends can view or connect with me easily, whatever it is that the reason is. Now, my first acceptance criteria would be user.
What you're putting down?
Yeah.
Your friend's criteria acceptance is like what you are putting down, that these are what they have to meet up before you can see them on the profile on the social media, sorry.
Yes, that is what the developer has to implement to make sure that other people can see it. Now, you can write your acceptance criteria in different ways. I can say I want to write my acceptance criteria now and say first acceptance criteria will be user should be able to view profile icon. Now, if you notice most application or most websites, before you put in your picture or whatever it is that you want to represent your profile picture, there's always like a profile of a person, small head, then the shoulder, to identify that this is what is going to stick here. Do you get? So now,
that they need a picture there.
yes, so that is those are the things that the acceptance criteria would cover. I can say user should be able to view the profile icon. User should be able to view, or user should be able to select or click on choose profile, right? It can be like a small button or a toggle. Next, I can say, okay, this is 2, 3, user should be able to, user should be able to choose image or pictures from desktop or device. So now if the developer decides to pick up this user story, these are the things that he or she would implement to make sure that a user is able to successfully create their profile picture. I don't know if you understand. Now, there are different things that you can use to create a user story's acceptance criteria. I wrote this out so you can see it. Now I can decide I want to make it different, whatever it is that I want to do, or I can decide I want to make it a checklist. Now a checklist, then I'll name this acceptance criteria. Now, all what I wrote here as the acceptance criteria, I can decide to add it here, but I'll be writing an acceptance criteria on, as a user, I want to be able to like my friend's profile picture so that they can be aware, whatever. Now, what are the acceptance criteria that they need for this to happen? First, user should be notified of a new picture upload. Is not compulsory, but it works in maybe some application. Maybe when you're following one of your friends, you are notified, oh, this person just uploaded this person just uploaded that. Then next you can say user should be able to view uploaded pictures. Next, user should be able to view and click on like or heart icon. Every social media have that small heart that these days signifies as like. It could be thumbs up, it could be whatever, it depends. Next, I would say user should be able to unlike pictures. So now, let's now say, for example, when the developer picks up whatever feature that needs to be implemented and they are done with it, he or she can come here and check this out. So they know, okay, 25% of the user story has been done before they move on to the next one. So when they take this out, then we are done with 50%. They take this out. That is just what basically checklist works with. It's not compulsory you write using a checklist for acceptance criteria. I'm just showing you everything that needs to be covered. Now you can decide to add a date if it's compulsory. Now the date could be when the date is when it is due, right? If the project or product owner is writing it and saying, okay, this feature needs to be implemented in a week, I can give this, okay, 25th of March, this should be done, blah, blah, blah. So when this is due or when this is almost due, they are notified. Then I can decide I want to name it, whatever, I want to label it. Now, user story, most times it could be any color that you want. Let me just give this a title. Then I decide, okay, let me pick user story. So the label, whoever it is that is picking it up would know that this is a user story. Then I can also decide to add an attachment. Let's say, for example, there's already a design that is there that needs to be implemented that they are working with. I can decide to go and get the screenshot of that design that was done during the planning phase and add it. How do you add attachments? There are different ways to add attachments. You can add attachments from your computer. You can add it from Trello, you can add it from Google Drive, you can add it from Dropbox or whatever. You can even add a link. It depends on whatever it is that you want to add. So next, you can also add a member. A member can be someone that needs to fix that particular bug or fix that particular application so that you would not have issues. So I can decide to add my name and say, okay, Sarah is the one that will pick up this feature and Sarah is the one that is going to work on it, and add her as a member of the board. So that basically covers what an acceptance criteria is. Does anyone have any question? Any question? I'm not hearing anything. Is anyone saying it? I'm not hearing anything. Is anyone saying it?
We're all listening to you.
Okay.
For now, it's clear.
All right then. So I'm actually going to give you guys task for you to work with on writing your own user story. So when you're done, you can go back to it. Next, we have bug reporting. What is a bug? Now,
Sorry, excuse me. We wrote one in the last physical class.
sorry, come again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I said last week? Yeah, in the physical class last week.
Hold on, sorry. So I'm not hearing you. It's kind of cracking.
Can you hear me better now?
Hold. Hello. Wait. Give me a moment. Or you can just type your question and send it to me on WhatsApp. I don't think I'm hearing my network. What's going on? Okay. So next we are going with, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Next we are going with what is a bug. A bug is a result of a coding error in the program, which causes the program to behave in an unintended or an unanticipated manner. Bugs arises from mistakes and errors made by people in either the programming source code or its design. So basically, when programmers are coding to actually implement the features that need to make up the applications, we have bugs. And most developers, their concern is not to check out for bugs. Their concern is to actually implement those particular features. Our concerns as testers is to make sure that those bugs are not costing us whatever it is that we need, or it's not costing money, basically. Those are what the things that they are trying to prevent. But any critical bugs that cost money, let's say, for example, you can't log into the application that you're working with, you can't log into the website, you cannot access anything on the website or the application, you know, it will cost. Let's say, for example, you can't use your Instagram for like a month, or there was a time WhatsApp shut down for a few hours, and you know, it was trending on Twitter and people were making comments and making fun of whatever situation was going on currently. For those few hours, if it had lasted for like a day, it's going to cost WhatsApp money, a lot of money, because they will not have users using it. So basically, a bug is something that would actually stop or slow down the application from happening. So now let's cover the most common types of bug. We have business logic, which is when a feature or a flow isn't right according to the business requirement. So now when a product owner or whoever it is that owns the application or the product, they have an idea that they want to implement. They have an idea of what they want to be done. And if those things are not done and they see it, like, let's say, for example, now, when I'm building my website or when I'm building my application, I say, okay, these are the things I want, or I want my like or favorite icon to be heart shaped. And then you bring me like a bear or a dummy, and I'm like, you know, when QA goes through it and they're like, okay, no, this does not meet the business logic that whoever it is that owns that particular product or application, what they want. So that is a business logic bug. Next is security bug, is where the code is vulnerable for some security exploits. Let's say, for example, now you are using your mobile banking app, and when you log in, you are directed to someone else's account that has millions, and you can transfer or make whatever transaction. That is going to cost them money because it makes their security exploitable. You can exploit it, you can hack it, you can do whatever it is that you want. So that is where the security bug comes from. Regression bugs are when they update some code. Let's say, for example, you were testing, you found a particular error bug or issue while testing an application, and they fixed it, you need to retest something, then you find out that another feature is having issues. You know, that is where maybe they updated one or two codes during the process of our reporting and it affects something else. That is regression bug. Performance bug is where the code is slow or some actions take extra time or extra functions. You want to load your account now, it keeps loading, or you keep getting a spinner for the next 3 to 5 minutes. You know, it's an issue. The application is not performing as you want it to be. Accessibility is where the code doesn't meet every aspect of the access, like you can't access whatever it is that you need for the bug. UI bugs is where the bug does not meet the design specification. Now, let's say, for example, the UI design or the design that was built for the application says the profile picture or the profile icon should be on the right, and we are having it at the bottom left or the down left or the other side. You know, it's not meeting, it's not the same as the design that was used to implement those features. Those are what we call the UI bugs. Then integration bugs are where 2 or more components don't work together. When I click on say maybe create an account now, or let's say sign in through Google, and it's not connecting me to my Google account. As you wanted to sign into Trello now, you had different features or different implementation. You can decide to sign in normally, writing your email, your password, your whatever, or you decide to use Google. You know, those two interface, they need to come together. They need to be integrated together. If there's no connection between Trello and Google, you would not be able to log in using your Google account. Does anyone understand? So next we have a bug report. Okay, a bug report is a specific report that outlines information about what is wrong and what needs fixing within an application. So when you write a report that, okay, I have tested all these features, I have tested all this application, I have tested everything that needs, and these are the bugs that I found, these are the issues that I found, these are my reports on what I feel needs to be done, it is a report that needs to be clear and action needs to be taken about it. Because if you write a bug report and they do not do anything about it, or they do not actually fix something about it, that would be an issue that would cost money or cost them staffs or whatever, users rather. So bug reports, what are the things that consist of a bug report? I know when we talked about the user story, we talked about the title, we talked about the description, the implementation, the acceptance criteria, and the rest like that. But for bug reports, it is similar but also kind of different, because that is if you're using the same tools, but they are not really similar. It just depends on how you write the format. No. So now a bug report has a title, a summary or description, a version of the application of which defect was found if there are different versions, steps to replicate, date raised, platform or environment, attachment screenshot, detected by, expected result, actual result, severity, priority. The title is when you write whatever it is that you find, you just give it a name or a particular line or sentence or description to match what you found. Now, your title needs to be, when you're writing your title for your bug report, it needs to be descriptive enough that whoever it is that is picking that bug report can tell what your issue is way before they even open the application. Now, let's say, for example, I cannot log into my Instagram account. I tried using my email and password. I tried using my Google account. I still cannot log in. Then I now wrote issue on accounts or error on accounts. When the developer sees it, or maybe where your teammate or your team lead or whoever sees that particular bug, they do not understand what you're talking about. They will have to click on that particular bug for them to read what the issue is, and you can save them that time. Now, if I want to write a tangible title for a bug report, I would say unable to log into accounts with valid information. So when they see, they know that, okay, this person cannot access their account or cannot create an account. Now, your summary or description is a detailed description of what you faced while you were working on that application, while you were using that application. So you describe those issues that you faced when user typed in valid email and password, or when user did all what they need to do to log into an application, user was getting an error message or user was unable to log in. Those are the things. Now, the version, let's say, for example, you're working with different versions of application, you can let them know what version it is that you face the application, or that you face that error rather. Next, we have steps to replicate. Steps to replicate are detailed steps that would help the developer to try and reproduce that error. Now, if you just say it like that and you leave it, and then they start asking, okay, what did you do, or how did you do it that made you face what you are facing? You need to give them the steps of what you did that made it difficult for you to log in. Now, next we have date raised. You can add the date that it was raised so that they can know when you face that particular issue. Platform or environment, it could be a mobile whatever device, or a mobile web or whatever. And if it is environment, it could be staging. Most times when we are testing, it is staging, so you can add it the specific staging. But if you face the issue or the bug while testing on the live project, you can also indicate it there. Next, we have attachment and screenshot. Attachment and screenshot are basically evidence that you actually faced what it is that you mention, or whatever difficulty it is that you saw. You add your screenshots or your attachment there. Detected by, you write the name of the tester or whoever it is that found the bug. Expected result is what you were supposed to get when you tried this. Now, if I type in my email and my password, or if I decide to sign in using Google, I'm expected to be directed to my application homepage or dashboard. that is the expected result. That is what you expect. And when I type in my email and password and click on login, I'm expected to be directed to where I am to get to. Sorry, can anyone hear me? It's kind of quiet. I want to know if I'm not talking to myself.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, you can hear me.
All right, so next we have actual result. Actual result is exactly what you encountered during the testing, which is the reason why you are reporting this bug. Severity describes the impact of the defect on the application, how serious it is. Priority is related to when the defect will be fixed, the urgency of when it needs to be fixed. If users cannot log in or they cannot create accounts, that means the priority is very high and it needs to be fixed ASAP. But if it is something that user cannot maybe, or a name, maybe A is written as E, or there's a dash where there's not supposed to be, or maybe like typographical error, it is an issue, but at times it's not easily noticed by some users. So the priority can be low when trying to fix it. So bug reporting techniques, general techniques, avoid duplication, search for existing issues first. Now, let's say now, if you're using tools that we use like Trello, Asana, or Jira, you need to be sure that this bug has not been reported before, the issue has not been reported, and you do not want to duplicate more than one bug multiple times. So you need to search and be sure that the bug has not been reported before. If you are unsure about the bug, talk to the developer for clarification. There are some things that you might feel, this thing does not work right. If you are not getting error or anything, but you feel like it's a bug, at times they will tell you it is an implementation. It is what is supposed to be there. Sure you get. So you need to discuss it to the developer to know that you are doing the right thing. Next, you have always be consistent to your bug reporting. Like you need to be consistent with it, whatever it is that you're writing, very detailed, very explanatory, so it will not look like you don't know what you are doing. Write well, make sure it can't be misinterpreted. Use the most basic and simplest English you can understand, and you feel like people can understand. I get it, most times our English might be different, but just write it as simple as it is so that they would not misinterpret the word that you meant with something else, and it would maybe you start having issues of where maybe the developer has to call you, or they need to start saying some things, or letting you know, okay, what do you mean, or have to start making research of what this person is talking about. Next, to have state useful facts, not opinions or complaints. You need to state the fact of why this bug is the bug, like why this thing is not working and the reason why, not your opinions on, okay, I feel this thing will be better like this, or I don't like how this thing is looking. That is not your place. You just need to test according to what is to be implemented. Next, lack of clarity can lead to misunderstanding or other errors. Now, if you do not explain your bug enough, the developer might try maybe fixing something else. Maybe let's say, for example, they can't reach you, or even when they were able to reach you, you did not, it's just misleading. So you need to try and clarify whatever it is that you wrote well. Can lead to requests for more information, which takes time. So basically, these are the issues that you face when you do not write your bug report well. So next, we have one part ticket. A single bug report can help avoid confusion and duplication. So now you should just write one report for one particular issue. If you are having issues logging, it has to be one thing that has to do with logging, one ticket for that particular issue or bug. It makes it difficult to confirm and fix multiple issues in a report. So if you're having more than one ticket, or if you're having more than one bug for a particular issue, it makes it difficult to confirm that this thing has been done. Let's say, for example, they fixed it and they're still seeing the same bug but written differently again on the tracker. Then they have to try and start fixing it again because you've added everything that needs to be added, but it is duplicated or it is there multiple times. Next, we have if we describe too many defaults, some may be overlooked. Now, if you write, let's say for you got 5 different errors, or you found five different bugs, or 6, and you decide to write everything on one ticket, they might decide to overlook 1 or 2 and fix 3. But if you are writing one ticket for one bug or one error that you found, that way they can pick it up one after the other and they do not overlook or move anyone aside. Reference related issue to convey relationship amongst issues. So let's say maybe, for example, you found another bug, another issue, you can reference it to maybe a bug or another user story or something. So report immediately. Do not wait to write detailed bug reports. Report later, as chances are high that you may miss some important steps. Immediately you find a bug and you try, you try it again and you're still facing it, just report that bug immediately so you do not miss or forget anything. This will ensure a good and reproducibly bug report. If you report your bugs immediately, it will ensure that it is good and it is reported correctly. Search before you report to avoid duplicates. We've talked about that. Reproduce next. Always run the test and reproduce the bugs at least 3 times. Now, why we say this is because at times when you're working on an application, it could be, let's say, your device, or it could be the network currently. So you do not want to report something that cannot be replicated again. So try to do whatever it is that you are doing currently at least 3 times to know that you are still facing that issue and it is a really, 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 really big issue. That way you know that you are not just chasing or something. Developers have to be able to reproduce the bug. So if developers try your steps and everything and they still can't reproduce it, they might not be able to fix it. If the bug is not reproducible every time, mention the frequency. Now, let's say, for example, you try to upload your profile picture. The first time you were able to, second and third time you were not able to. When you try it like 4 or 5 more times, you were able to. Then you try 6 and 7, you can't. You need to let them know how many times you tried, how many times you got this thing positively, and how many times you got it negatively, so that they can know what they are working with. Include the minimum numbers of steps required to reproduce. So you need to number it according to what steps. If it is 5 steps, if it is 6 steps, they need to know. Read before submitting. Yes, read all your sentences and cut out unnecessary words so that you're straight to the point and like basic understanding, fast understanding. Check for spellings and grammars. That is kind of self-explanatory. If not too much grammar, no big grammars, and all this kind of stuff. And then next we have, make sure the ticket makes sense, no ambiguity. So make it make sense, write it straight to the point, detailed. I would write one and you see it, but it needs to be very simple. Now, bug severity. Bug severity, we have critical, high, medium, and low. Critical because it may cause damage to the product. Now, if you are trying to do something and all of a sudden the application shuts down, you are trying to upload your profile picture, or you are trying to change your password, and all of a sudden you are logged out, or you are getting errors, or your application it just shuts down immediately. That is a very critical error, because you are trying to change your password and all of a sudden you just see that you are logged out. You cannot do anything. It will make users you lose interest on using the application. Next, we have high defects or high bugs are something that affects the main features. Like when you are trying to do something on that applications and the main features that you need, create an account, upload your profile, change your password, or like a particular action. There are main features and there are other features that it's not everyone that uses it on that application. It's just few or a handful. But there are some very, very main features that they implement that everyone uses. You need to be sure that the defects are not high to impact those main features. Medium defects are minimal deviation from project requirements. So basically, it can be something that is serious but not too serious, cannot be overlooked, but is not actually crashing down the application. Low, that is a very minor effect, and they can fix it anytime. It is not a priority and doesn't take. Now we have defect priority. Defect priority are also known as bug priority, which indicates the importance of the urgency of the application. If you cannot log in, or if you are trying to transfer, let's say 5K, and you are transferring 500K that you do not have, right? It is an issue on a particular application. Like, it is something that needs to be fixed ASAP, because let's say, for example, we have people that will take advantage of all these things, and it can make maybe the bank or the owner of the application lose money. So urgent fixes are something that needs to be fixed immediately, that you do not need to waste time on. High are something that also needs to be fixed in the upcoming build and should not waste time. But urgent and high, they are kind of different, because urgent is something that you do not even need to waste time on. They need to pick it up. High is also very serious and needs to be picked up practically immediately. But with the way it is, you can't see an urgent bug and decide to fix an high bug. Developers won't do that. Medium can be fixed after the release or in the next release. If it's not something that will shut down the application or cost them money, it is a fix that they can do later. Low may or may not be fixed. Now, low bugs or low issues are something that they can fix later or decide to just overlook. Okay, next we have errors, defects, faults, and failures. A person can make error, which is a mistake, which can lead to introduction of a defect or bug into the software code. An error is made by a person. The implication of that error can lead to a fault or a bug. Now, what is error or mistake? Error is an human action that produces an incorrect result. Like I said, error is made by a person, whoever it is that is coding the application. It is the deviation from an actual or expected value. The mistakes made by a programmer is known as an error, and it could happen because of too many reasons. Whatever reasons that he have while they were trying to code the application. A bug is a result of a coding error. So if there's an issue with whatever code that was implemented by the developer, it will lead to a bug in the system, which causes the program to misbehave in an unintended or an unanticipated manner. Bugs arises from mistakes and errors made by people. So when we are talking about errors and defects and failures, you need to know the difference. Errors are made by programmers or a person that's trying to implement the code, while a bug is a result of a coding error. Next, we have defects. What is a defect? A defect is a deviation from the requirement. A software defect is a condition in the software product which does not meet the software requirements. Now, there are requirements that need to be met when working with an application. If the developer should deviate from that particular feature, it is a defect. It does not, like, the end goal do not align together, and it is something that needs to be fixed. A failure is a deviation of the software from its intended purpose. Now, the implementation is supposed to be for you to be able to like a particular feature. But what if when you click on like, all of a sudden you unfollow that particular person? So it is a failure because what was intended for that particular feature is not what you are getting. So it is the instability of a system or a component to perform its functions within the performance requirements. Then conclusion, a bug is a result of a coding error. A defect is a deviation from requirements. A bug does not necessarily mean a defect does not necessarily mean there is a bug in the code. It could be a function that was not implemented but not defined in the requirements software. Any question? I'll take that as a no. Okay, so I'm going to write a bug and you guys can understand all the English I have been saying so far. Okay. Let me see if this application is still the same. So you can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
So now this application now, I'm supposed to be able to maybe search for a job for whatever. It could be that, it's based on a particular area, or here now you're seeing that is a career website based in New York City. It could be that maybe because I'm in Nigeria or whatever. But let's say, for example, that is not the issue. I'm getting like a 503 error or something. I just did this so that we can have example of what I'm talking about. So now I'm saying, when trying to, let me say, launch websites. Now, this is my description. When the developer just goes through all this, user gets a 503 error or for whatever error not found, they can understand that, okay, this is what this person is facing when trying to work with this particular application, and it's preventing them from using it. So next I'm going to be writing, hold on. So basically for some applications, 503 error means maybe it's unavailable, server unavailable or something. Let me just put it here. So now say when user launches or clicks on hello on Neto Solutions websites from Google search, user is directed to a blank page displaying a 503 error message. So now with this description that I did, when the developer is going through the application or my bug, they can tell where I made my search from. I don't know if you understand. I can have access to Neto website and just type Neto Solutions, or have access to Instagram website and type in the URL. But this time around, I decided to make a Google search. So when I tried it through Google search, this is the error I'm getting. It could be that if you already have access to the application on your desktop, you might not be getting this error. But if you go through Google search, you will get the error. So that is why description needs to be very, very important. Now, next, I'm having steps to reproduce. Mhm. So now these steps to reproduce would be short because these were the two things that I could do before I got the error message. Now, let's say, for example, it has to do with login. Login, you launch the website, you type in your email and password, click on login button before you get the error. And they could mean different things. So for this one, it's just 2 steps to reproduce. Now, next would be expected results. Expected results. User should be able to access the network website from Google search. Next, actual results. User get a 503 error message. From my description, can you interpret what my bug is all about? Anyone? Let's say, for example, you are the developer that wants to pick it up. Can you tell what I am talking about? Can you understand the bug from what I wrote?
Yes, basically, it's just a fault on the failure in the most common cases. So you're trying to explain it and put it on for the developer to know what is going on.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, I would say members, Sarah is me. Attachments, let me just screenshot this just for example of what I need. So I come here, I go to attachments, I decide to pick from my desktop or my computer. I just decided to add this as an evidence of how you can make a screenshot. Now, Trello at times automatically, when you add your screenshot, it automatically make your screenshot a cover. Now, if I close this out and I come here, you would see the image. You can decide you don't want to make the screenshot a cover. It's up to you. Then you can just click on remove cover. Your writings will still be there, your screenshots will still be there, but it will not be displayed here. So it's up to you. Then you can add members, whoever it is that wants to work on it. Label bug is always red. I don't know why this is orange. Let me change this. So I pick this red. Red stands for danger for me. So red bug, whatever. So this practically covers it. Any question? Anyone? Any question?
No, you can continue.
So if I give you a task on writing your own bug reports, you can do it on your own.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah. The question is that all these, is it developer job, like, or is a tester job?
Developer bug job in what in particular?
Like in all this what you just said right now
A bug report.
about the
A
bug report and so on. I
A
know the
bug-
bug report is for tester, right?
A bug report is written by the tester. The fixes,
Yeah.
is the developer's job. You are not, a tester is not to fix a bug because you don't even know what to fix. You don't know what to code. So you just write it in the proper channel that it needs to be written, and you are good to go.
And so what I mean by is the user story.
Okay, now the user story can be written by you as a tester. That is, maybe you are working in an organization, or you are working on a project or a product, and you feel that this thing can help improve this particular product. But most times the user stories are written by maybe product owner or project manager, it depends. But user story can also be written by a tester, but you also need to know and understand the user story, because most times you would be working with a user story when trying to test an application. Do you understand?
Yes. I understand.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Any other question? Anyone? Okay. That will bring us to the end of our class. I am going to share a template